Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody had a good time with the quiz. It's difficult to match his energy, but I'll try to do my best. Um, welcome everybody. I think we basically are going to talk about a topic which I think which touches something which every retailer is kind of grappling with today, right? And I have three gentlemen from very diverse brands, but at the same time, at the heart of it all, they are from the retail industry. So the GCC, as we all know, has one of the most sophisticated customer bases, right? People who are digitally savvy, people who are spoiled for choice, like all of us, right? But over the years, I think the industry has always kind of replicated the same playbook, which is attract, convert, and repeat, right? But things are changing, and we are going to talk about this change or this shift that all of us are now trying to embrace, right? So let's get right into it, right? I hope all of you are ready. So let's maybe start with a quick reality check, right? So when you look at customer engagement in the GCC today, right? I want to ask each of you, what do you think has remained constant and what do you think has changed, right? Maybe we can start with Gaurav, right? So Gaurav here is from the jewelry industry, right? I'm sure you face an altogether different challenge where your consumers don't buy frequently, right? So we would love to hear your thoughts on what do you think has changed or is changing, and what part of the mindset has remained the same over the course of years.
So I think a lot of brands, not just in the GCC, but I think across the world, mistake frequency for engagement. And that's the major mistake that they make. I think we are always perennially, as marketers, running after the next campaign, the next sales, the next conversion. But the need is, and I think a lot of brands are moving towards this, from moving towards a customer-centric led journeys rather than a campaign-centric marketing program. And I think that's the biggest change. For jewelry, while we would want customers to buy products every day, but unfortunately that doesn't happen. The average frequency for a jewelry buyer at best would be 2. So what is very, very important for us is, and if you're only present at the time they're buying the jewelry, I think we are already part of their past and we won't be part of the future. So how do we remain relevant in the 6 months between those 2 purchases? I think that is very, very important. And for us to build that memory in the consumer's mind, I think is the most critical aspect of our engagement strategy.
Awesome. I want to ask Stan next. Stan, how do you see this play out differently in a luxury e-commerce market as compared to a mass market one?
I think for me what has changed the most, because you're asking for the change, is the customer expectations. Because now a digital customer, be it luxury or even mass, their expectation is the experience should be just seamless and frictionless from their first interaction with the brand, can be an ad, be it organic or paid, up to the delivery and even a return. So this is what changed the most, because 5-10 years ago, customers would somehow accept a slight delay in a delivery or a slight, let's say, damage on a product and wouldn't complain that much. But now the expectation is it should be personalized and almost like a Netflix-based experience, but delivering a goods and not a service. So this is what's obviously keeping us busy at all times. You cannot afford to fail, otherwise you lose them.
100%. I think all of us can relate to what Stan just said. Jatin, with all your experience of like 25 plus years in retail, I'm sure you have seen a lot of changes, right? So what is the biggest shift that you have seen over the course of your experience in general?
See, I think one point which is not changed is simplicity. I mean, a consumer is as simple as we can be. They need a shirt is a shirt. They need a shoe is a shoe. What has changed is from a transaction becoming experience. Now it is no more a transaction. It is all about experience. It is all about empowering. It is all about that native digital knowledge what a customer carries. And yet he's simple, but he makes his own decision very, very, keeping all his choices in mind. So if you are at top of his mind, you are there. If you're not, you miss the bus. So that is what really changed. If you look at the fight of the wallet share is extensively becoming more and more, and that can only happen with the relevance of brand and the relevance of experience what you would put in and day out. So key is consistency. If you ask me what we need to hold on, if we need to survive the change, or if we need to ride the change, that's what important.
Amazing. Thank you, Jatin. No, I think the next topic is, I think, very interesting. It's about loyalty programs. I think GCC is all about loyalty programs, right? I mean, all of us have multiple loyalty apps in our phones. But what I want to ask you guys is, like, are the reward points or in general the points, are they actually building real relationships, right? Or are they just buying repeat visits or repeat purchases, right? I would like to probably hear from Stan on his thoughts.
To start with, obviously we are like a pure player within a big retail group, which is Altair. So obviously I inherited, and we didn't change, a loyalty system and loyalty program called Amber, which we still do. The danger and the risk to me is you can be undercut by any competitor, and now because the consumer is digital, the competitor may not even be GCC based, but can
Correct.
be based anywhere else in the world,
Yes.
and still target a GCC customer. So the price of the loyalty points and the value offered to the customer, you might be undercut. So to me, somehow loyalty points is just a way of somehow renting loyalty. But the big difference is you need to earn that loyalty, and it's not necessarily going to come from points. I think it's, I may sound like a broken record, but it will more come from the curation and the deliberate action, and again, the experience you're offering to GCC customers.
Correct.
So again, like payment method localized, superb like delivery and logistics localized. And this is going to be a big differentiation. What we do as well is we do bring personalization up to the box.
Yes.
On our side. Okay, we are luxury, so I know not everybody in the room can do and afford it. I get it, but that's a massive difference.
Yes. So experience leads to loyalty.
Curation of the experience you're bringing, and it can be an omni experience, right? But you understood these customers. So the loyalty is a dangerous game to me. That's personal.
Amazing. Jatin, what do you think?
Can I just add one point?
Yeah, sure.
I think most of the players here don't have loyalty programs. They have incentive programs. And I think loyalty is what is left once the incentives disappear.
Yeah, correct. And I think in your case, Gaurav, right? I mean, there's a lot of emotional loyalty also attached in the jewelry business, right? I mean, usually people kind of relate jewelry to some special moments in their life, right? So I think for a brand like Damas, I think emotional loyalty has also got to do a lot in bringing people back, right? So yeah, I just wanted to kind of add that as well. Yes,
I
Jatin.
think, it depends at what stage a brand is and how do they perceive their vision.
Correct.
If you ask me, in retail, there are not many players who have really cracked loyalty piece. Airlines, I really feel they have cracked it. If you go to Singapore Airlines or you go to Emirates,
Yeah.
there you don't talk about brand, points or incentives. So the loyalty to me is the moment consumer steps inside the store, a staff is being greeting by the name and knowing what the habits are, what they wanted to buy, what they wanted to shoe, what their wife likes, even what their color of the dog is or what their dog's name is. That's how you need to know your consumer. Then you can come up to the loyalty. That's where customer will never leave you. So if you ask me, do we fly Emirates or Singapore for the points or the miles? No, we fly it for experience, which is why we feel loyalty is there towards that brand, which really they have cracked it. The moment you come at the counter, the moment you have selected the seat, your meal, everything has been fixed till the time you get they drop you.
Correct. And it's the trust that these brands build,
of course,
that things won't go wrong.
And it's earned. I mean, loyalty is
earned.
definitely earned. I mean, like a few months back I was flying Emirates, and that time there was a lot of news on airplanes or some kind of malfunctioning happening, etc. While I was sitting in Emirates with my wife, we were saying that the plane did flew for half an hour and they were taking time. I said, don't worry, it's Emirates, it will never fly till the time they're safe. So that trust, you're depending your life on that brand, and you're really counting on that they will not do anything wrong to us, or you can come back to them again. That's where you win loyalty. Yeah.
Nice example there. Moving on, right? So I think we spoke about the changing behavior. We spoke about loyalty. A very important piece of the entire puzzle is data, right? I think a lot of you touched upon the part that want to know the customers better, and data is kind of the fuel, right? That helps you give that experience to your customers, right? So I want to ask, according to you, how many brands have actually kind of cracked this, which is gathering the right information about their users, and where do you see are the gaps in terms of actually having the data and going ahead and using the data to give your customers a good experience? Maybe we can start with Jatin, probably. Jatin, in physical retail especially, right? How do you kind of bridge that gap into the overall experience that you mentioned at a store with the online experience as well, right? How do you manage to kind of bridge that gap?
So I think one very important piece today is how are you simplifying the customer journey, and how are you retaining him or her with you so that they come back to you again and again. Hence, if you look at any medium, whether it's physical retail, it's endless aisles, it's BNPL, whatever you wanted to put through that experience point of view, it depends on really how fast you are and how accurate you are. Like today, we at Apparel Group, we were amongst the first one who started really less than an hour delivery, amongst within the region. And we literally used our physical stores to make sure if a consumer has come in, we will deliver to you within an hour. So that's how the benchmark, we are looking at. And the consumers are opting for it more and more. They wanted to come, they wanted to look at that experience, that product. They want to shop there. How do we bridge it? We make sure the data is available with entire value chain. That in fact, if a customer has walked in at my store manager, my store associate, anyone who can really go and talk about to him what is they shop, how did they shop, what do they need, etc. And then it is also about today anticipating the demand. So if you ask me who has really cracked it, I really feel Amazons of the world have really cracked it, that they know before you know what you wanted to buy. So they'll really push you up. Hey, you forgot this. So to me, really, that's that's a standard. If someone wants to build their noon, we came up with 15 minutes delivery in the region. And if you look at the fastest implementation, implementation was I saw at Amazon. When they really quickly come in, change the color, get to the strategy, get to the deck, get to the the tech piece of it, and they are there now. Like you said, one of the questions was also there. Who said to which of the brands which really made sure that 2 hours was very late? It was Amazon. So yeah, I mean, that's how we are evolving.
Correct.
That's how data is important. But I think the right decision making from that data is important.
Correct.
Data is available.
And I think the vice versa experience as well, right? I mean, based on what you probably shop offline, it also becomes very important that, okay, the next time maybe you don't want to visit the store, you want to buy online.
True, very true.
You are shown what probably, something that you would want to buy.
Correct.
Based on what you have probably bought from the store.
Based on that, actually, you touched a very good point. Even the e-commerce sites are evolving.
Yeah.
Very soon at our group, we'll be also launching, one of the new experience led, where not only you would see the static, but the videos, you can shop, we can deliver, you can pick up whatever you need through one app. And that's how we wanted to take it forward.
Amazing. Thank you. Stan, so you sit on rich e-commerce data, right? What do you think is that single underutilized signal from a customer, which probably I would say undervalued signal that you want to capture from a customer?
I would say, first, compared to this gentleman, I'm obviously lucky and privileged because we capture data at every point where it's way easier for us.
Yeah.
It costs a lot, and it costs a lot of people's time to analyze. But to be honest, and honest frankly about your question, first of all, obviously first-party data are table stakes. But on our side, and again, because it's easier for us, what's really important to capture is not only, let's say, the data of the customers post a conversion has been made, but everything that has happened before and everything that has happened after. Okay? So obviously, we are tasked to deliver the top line, the revenues, and maximize the bottom line as well. That's also table stakes. But what's more important from a customer standpoint, because you're asking for a KPI, what I care about, not the most, but almost the most, is post-purchase silence, I call it. Meaning, I acquired one guy, it obviously costed me 7 times more than a customer that I retain, but then if he comes once and never comes back again, that's a pure loss. So this is what I like to call, post first order silence is a KPI I'm trying to look at on an often basis. Otherwise, if you want to simplify for a term that everybody knows, it's more retention rate. But
yeah, very interesting, because usually people talk about measuring engagement, measure the noise, but very interestingly you said the post-purchase silence.
For me, the engagement will be shown on the immediate next visit post their first purchase. That's a sign of engagement to me.
Absolutely, very interesting. Gaurav, I think, what do you think? Is personalization at scale achievable without first-party data? Right? If you have to give an advice to smaller retailers who are starting up, what would it be?
For smaller retailers, personalization at scale might be tough. I think what you can do is you can personalize an audience. But if you say personalize for Stan, I might not be able to do that without the 1P data. So that's the key difference. So unless and until you have 1P data, you can do generalized personalization, but you can't do individual personalization. But I think what Stan spoke about being silent, I think is very, very relevant. I think you can't be silent, you have to be salient. I think the example that I can give from our jewelry industry, so the moment we get to know that someone has bought something for engagement, like an engagement ring, in most cases, 99% of the cases, that the wedding will follow.
Correct.
After the wedding, there will be a first anniversary. So that is where you can be salient. And if you become silent and if you just continue with your generic messaging, then you've lost all the relevance of your data.
Exactly, fair point. And
so you see, you know about me, right?
You don't share your data with us.
That's it.
So I think with the diverse group of panelists, I think the next topic is, of course, on the audiences, the people, right? GCC has, like I said, a very nice mix of people. We have Emiratis, we have tourists, we have a lot of expats. Right. So how do you make sure that the personalization or the engagement with your users is, I would say, is regionally relevant, but at the same time not generic, right? So maybe I can, we would love to hear from Gaurav first. What's your take?
So if we don't get the cultural nuances right, you've already lost the battle.
Yes.
I think getting the cultural nuances right is now par for the course. It's table stakes now. So I don't think that's an option anymore. But at the same time, if I were to say compare a young Emirati with a young Saudi, there is similarity as well. And the similarity is in the mindset. I think the mindsets are very, very similar.
Correct.
I think for a brand like, say, Damas, which has been there for more than 120 years, sometimes what people feel is the heritage of the brand a burden, but not really. I think it's the foundation on which everything else gets built.
Right.
And for a lot of the younger consumers, what we've also realized is they want to be rooted in culture. They want to be rooted in the tradition. But the tradition and the culture can't be static.
Correct.
And that is where the role of the brand in today's day and age comes in. How do you make that tradition relevant for that consumer? So I think they're very similar in terms of the mindset. I think in terms of their expectations of authenticity, in their expectations of personalization, customization, how do you become relevant for them? How do you make them feel valuable in terms of their experiences? I think that is where the similarity is. But yes, as table stakes, if you're not getting the cultural nuances right, you've already lost the battle.
Absolutely agree. Stan, like, does Ramadan still kind of reset your entire engagement norms?
It doesn't reset it. It's part of the business as usual. But to answer your, I mean, the way we do it from an audience perspective, yeah, UAE is diverse in terms of nationality, but we do not capture where you're coming from as a data point. So it's irrelevant, and I would say it's illegal, maybe.
Yeah.
We look at it more from either behavior or category interest point of view. So we do club cohorts such as, like, I've got my Gucci lovers, my dress lovers, my I don't know, name the category or the brand. That can be across countries. Then what we tend to apply as a second step is, and you said it the best, is the cultural nuances. And here our retail calendar and, let's say, engagement calendar differs from country to country because they do not have the same, obviously.
Correct.
For example, time of browsing differs quite a lot, especially during Ramadan. We love this Saudi's night browser where I've got basically 60% of my traffic during Ramadan in Saudi is done between midnight and 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Which is not the same in UAE, right?
Right.
So we just tend to adapt to each country, even to each city to a certain extent, because the nuances between a Riyadh customer and a Jeddah customer do exist, and we do also not offer the same level of services. So we try to be as geographically relevant as possible.
Correct.
To make the experience again as localized as possible. So we tend to localize from content up to delivery per country. So this is the way we approach it.
Amazing. I think in specifically in GCC, we see that a lot of the strategies shift around the calendar months, around different countries, and around the different categories of people that you're targeting, right? So there's a lot of shift that happen, but at the same time, you need to make sure that you're keeping the experience consistent, right? Lastly, I think, Jatin, I would love to hear from you with your experience in retail, right? How does the concept of relationship and trust, differ across the different nationalities and the different cultures that we experience in GCC?
So relationship and trust, I think, again, it ties up to your loyalty piece of it. And I really believe it is not about different nationality. For us, the consumer is same. Experience should be same. It only differs between cohorts of the regional nuances on where we have localization more or where we have the local population more. In fact, in UAE, if you look at, Dubai behaves completely different to Abu Dhabi, to Alain, to Sharjah.
Correct.
So, I mean, it is not really about that. And within Dubai also, if you look at Sheikh Zayed Road, behaves differently to your DFCs or Mirdifs of the world. So, it is all about knowing your consumer well. It is about acting on them really well, and it is about predicting the demand and predicting the behavior. So, a lot of us, go on the history, and then we, really make those cohorts and go ahead with our strategies. But I really feel the game changer is today how you can predict that this product at this store at this time would really kick off really very well, and then you take that bet on. That's how you will be growing your market share. So, I mean, we all know Prima came to UAE and first they came to Kuwait. Now, what do they have loyalty or a trust within GCC? I mean, not yet really, but if you look at, there were queues outside their Dubai Mall store for nearly about 2 weeks. Similar with Mirdif, so like I said, the brand experience and the product, I mean, all these three, once you tie it together, half the battle is won. And balance is your service and your execution, and then knowing them better, etc. These are all frills then. So a simple product, great experience, great transactions, great experience will bring you back customer again and again.
Apparently, I think my next question it was going to be something which is, of course, very close to you. It's around, like, of course, all the brands have websites, they have applications, and they have CRM systems, etc. What do you think is the role of, like, physical stores and human interaction in the overall customer relationship building in 2026 and beyond? No better person to kind of ask.
See, I think from the experience really multiplies if the customer has gone to store and they have been happy about it.
Yes.
Primark does not have, just to give an example, in e-commerce or wherever they can. But if you look at their store while they open, you could see literally 60-70% of the customers who were shopping within that store were locals. I mean, if you look at the women around, I could see almost 80% of them in abayas. So which means really that has built up through an experience, and like we have many brands towards it. R&B, again a value chain, which has really taken up market share 10 years back where we were and today where we are giving a really tough fight to each one of them. And we were not largely available on e-commerce, or there were no sites available that. But today, we are almost a billion dirham, in terms of the turnover. So physical store makes your memories, fresh. You wanted to go again and again, especially in this part of the region where you don't have anything to do on weekends. You really hit up to the mall, you really hit up to the food court and going out with the families. You want to really shop and engage in.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you look at many of the customers, many of the women, many of the men, they also have, just leave me into the mall, let me go around it. So that's how it is also, a stress breaker for many of us, to go around the malls and let me shop around for it. So physical experience is almost the key, always the key. Even in Western part of the world, if you look at today, yes, you have to be digitally savvy, you have to be on top of the mind, experience has to be better on the app. But largely now, all the retailers have started working on physical stores. Revamping them, bringing the programs, bringing the product and all that.
Yeah, I think a lot of brands are going back to the brick and mortar style, because even like I feel that the physical stores actually keep the brand closer or help bringing the brand closer to the end customers.
I remember, when about close to 2 decades back when this was getting launched on e-commerce and all the website, people said, brick and mortar store, mom and stores will... Today, if you look at, there is no retail space to open the store. There is no new mall coming in. I mean, we have a line of brands who wanted to come to GCC. We have close to 10 brands which we have signed up and kept on, but I can't find a retail space. So that's how, I mean, while, it is a stigma, but it works
It's a
out.
good problem to have.
Yeah, it's really a good problem to have.
Amazing. So, Stan, do you think that there is a risk that we probably over automate and lose the human touch or the human warmth, which actually kind of helps build loyalty as well? What do you think on this?
So, to answer your question first, is there a risk that we really over automate and lose the human touch?
Yeah.
Yes, there is a risk, for sure. But it's a risk on our side we try to mitigate, okay? And the way we mitigate is making sure at the end of each customer service line, like the beginning may be AI treated, but the end is human touch.
Yeah.
Again, the paper in the box is still mimics somehow human writing, and we call the customer by its name. It's important that we train as well our drivers to call the customer by its name when relevant and possible. So we try to bring at the delivery moment the human touch that unfortunately we don't have online. That's point number one.
Yeah.
But point number two, and as some of you might have seen, we actually moved into physical commerce recently, sometimes on a one-time basis, but now we open something more permanent. And the why, actually seconding what you said, because I think it's adding a lot of value, and it does make sense, is when you bring a new brand in the region, which is also what we sometimes do, people expect to understand, feel, touch, and be explain the brand. So you need that kind of physical touch. And there is no technology and no automation that will be able to replicate that, even AR. Yeah. I mean, I used to spend a lot of marketing money on Snapchat AR. Like, you're not going to get that physical touch.
Yeah.
And we always had also like a good double-digit percentage of our revenues are coming from actually personal shopping services, which is equivalent to Dubai Mall. When you reach a specific, obviously, amount of revenues with us, there is that human touch. So
absolutely.
It's always been present, and it will, and it has to remain present.
Absolutely. Thank you, Stan. Lastly, I think Gaurav, having been on both sides, right? I mean, running a business which does very well on both online, offline side. I'm sure everybody would love to hear your thoughts also on the same thing, right? I mean, about human touch and the importance in building loyalty.
I think they've covered pretty much everything, but yeah, like they said, the trust and the empathy is something that you can't replicate online, and that is something that will continue to stay. Just to give you an anecdote from the other day in one of our stores, there's a customer who walks in with a young daughter, a 5-year-old. The daughter was obviously getting agitated inside the jewelry store because there was nothing to do. But the presence of mind of a sales associate to take the daughter to the side, give her a coloring book, give her a few sketch pens and say, wow, hey, you enjoy yourself, let mom enjoy. It's something that you can't replicate online. So, so that empathy, that human touch that they spoke about, that trust that gets built over years, I think is very, very important.
Must have been a big relief for the parents.
Big, big relief.
Amazing. I think the last topic, again, before we finish this amazing panel is of course very important, which is about measurement, right? Often everybody talks about the customer lifetime value, they talk about revenue, etc. But I want to ask each one of you, right, if you have to give me one metric which actually you should be proud of, not revenue, but one other metric which each of you are proud of. Maybe we can start with Stan.
That will be retention, but also merge with customer satisfaction and not necessarily an NPS, right? So
Yeah.
it's a score that we associate to its retention rate. The higher the satisfaction, the higher the retention. So they go hand in hand.
Amazing. Jatin?
So at Apparel, we are an amalgamation of close to 60 odd brands. We really feel proud when we look at the number that how we have been able to move, or how the customer journey is amongst all our brands into their different life stages and their shopping patterns.
Okay.
I mean, right from a footwear to a Birkenstock to a running shoe of Asics. I mean, then to going to our sports, athleisure, and then to their evening, then to their office for their kids. So we really wanted to hold that piece of it, and we wanted to see how well the customer is shopping within our brands into that same period. It is all about engagement, definitely that how well you are able to do it, and plus also it is about having those strict lines where you can't poach each other brands, but really have to do very deliberately in understanding their behavior and their patterns. So that is where we feel really very proud how we have held it to the largest consumer base within us.
Amazing. So I think the cross brand pollination.
Yes.
While
So like I said, I didn't want to use that word of cross brand because we work with many brands and we have certain lines which we don't cross amongst it, but we really use that cohorts that for example, if you want to use your room fresheners or so we'll send you to the rituals, and then again the same shopper wanted to come through our ASIC. So that's how we make sure the different categories within our group are being measured, not amongst the same cohorts. Yeah, that's what we do.
Amazing.
Kind of apparel world adoption.
Yeah.
Gaurav.
I have a very qualitative metric that we track in Titan, and I think the credit for this goes to our ex-MD. So we always say in Titan, it doesn't matter when the customer walks out of your store, whether he or she is walking out with your brand bag. What should matter is they are walking out with a smile on their face. So for us, that is the most important metric.
Amazing. Very nicely said. All right. So I think that brings us to the end of a very exciting panel. Right now, before we actually let the gentlemen go, I want to actually open it up to the audience as well. Right. So anybody who wants to directly ask our panelists any questions, come on, guys. You can challenge the speakers. Don't be shy. Yes.
Right, thank you, gents. That was very informative. Took down some notes. So I'm into the pet food and distribution business. I run a chain of pet stores across the UAE, and you mentioned something about Stanislas about poor customer loyalty. We do face this. It's a very price-centric commodity that we're selling, which is pet food. And our biggest challenge is retaining these customers. At the time when we don't run a sale, they jump off, or when we have a sale, they come back. So in your sort of business, I know my wife, she's an avid shopper at Ounass. How do you tackle these price-driven customers to come back on your platform?
I would say the editor, first of all, you need to give them a reason to come back. And a trigger may not be commercial, but it may be content and editorial led, right? So give me a reason to come back to your, let's call it store. I might not necessarily shop, but again, the idea is to be top of mind. So we might give styling tips advice. So on your side can be how to take care of your pet during summer. Can you connect me to dog sitters? Think about all of this life situation when you own a pet that might be complicated. I mean, I'm answering your question for your industry, but this is the way we kind of position ourselves. We do have an editorial voice. We are not only a place to shop, we are a place to help and support. Does that answer your question?
Anyone else? Thank you. Uh, Hello. Yeah. So I run payment company, and the challenge I recently facing is more of marketing content side, because I am trying to target different customer bases. Like I sell to business, but because it's a payments, I have to also encourage payers. And then you also touch the point where customer diversity, especially in the GCC. So it's like I'm talking, my content is talking to multiple audience, and when I look at my profile, it feels just chaotic. Does that matter at all, or our data goes to the right people? Just confused, so maybe you can share some glance on it.
You guys want to jump in?
It doesn't matter. But
Really?
not sure I understood your question right, but you're just saying that you have a lot of different data sets, if I were to call them that.
Yeah, right. So, as you were talking about, there are expats, there are international customers, or the locals. So here we are trying to talk to different audience, and the sentiment value for the same content for different audience can be different. Similar to, this is the problem. And then when I'm talking to like a different age group and the range of the age group. So trying, it's like when I try to create content for this, it can become chaotic because my social media is trying to talk about a lot of things. That's the problem I'm struggling with.
I mean, I understand the chaos coming from the marketing side. But my number one rule would be A, start simple, do not overcomplicate.
Yeah.
And B, figure out your customer, irrespective of its nationality, age group, and talk to him as if it was a close relative.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So limit your over complexification of your customer base,
Yeah.
but speak true as your own voice and how you would like to be addressed,
Yeah.
and forget the passport or the age
Yeah.
and the wrinkles or
Yeah.
the size, or
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Try
trying
to
my
just
best to do
create
the
like
right thing.
less
Yeah.
buckets,
Trying from hard.
less buckets, but one similar and consistency, one consistent voice throughout. It should somehow
Yeah, yeah.
help you a bit.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the sharing. I'm now pursuing my MBA at INSEAD and studying my MBA summer at noon for the beauty strategy. And I have a question. I'm wondering if do you observe there is a trend that local indie brands in the GCC markets are booming and they will dominate the market in the next few years?
Okay. Great. So
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you.
So which INSEAD are you from? Singapore?
Fontainebleau.
Fontainebleau. Okay. I have been there. So good. So
Yeah.
welcome. And I think from the content side of it, the localization is going to becoming the big thing. We cannot ignore it. Why is it? Because now AI, tech, data, everything is getting empowered and people have the visibility now. Now more and more, also the geographical, rules are being tightened, that made in Saudi, made in India, made in wherever you are. So localization is going to become a big thing, and faster we ride there, faster we have the local players on board, better we are. And also localization is playing a major role in Gen Z. They really wanted to support the community, support the group, and they have been able to experience it. They have been able to take, actually they are the fast risk takers, I would say. Because they do short quantities, they can really personalize for you, and they're moving up. Whether you look at a lounge, whether you look at a restaurant, a cafe, or an apparel brand or a footwear brand, you see a localization going up. Will be for sure.
Thank you.
I can just, if you had a question about, because I answered, I understood beauty and local brands. Those were the two keywords you are mentioning, right? Well, what I can confirm is, for example, in the fragrance industry, fragrance is the majority of our beauty top line, and beauty is important for us as well. Over the past 2 years, and it's actually public information, but if some of you know the brands such as Damas, that just conquered like the market. And the why, you already answered it, because they are like rooted into tradition, using the ingredients, the production, and the actually Gen Z or teenagers, they are proud of the region. So their head is like sky is the limit, but deeply anchored and rooted in the region and proud to be born in the region. So they're already taking over the market, and for sure they're going to lead it within the next 5 years.
So if you find a right startup, invest in there of the localization.
Amazing. I think that's a good way to end the session. So my key takeaway is that transactions pay your bills, but relationships build businesses. That is evidently that's the direction the whole market is heading, and that is where I think all of us are gradually shifting our engagement strategies to. A big round of applause, and thank you so much, gentlemen, for being fantastic panelists. We had a great time, and I hope all of you had too.